Hello and welcome to a factory default build, trade, repeat little let's play introduction. I'm going to take you through how to play the game, at least in the beginning, so that you can get a start on your business and make some money. So let's start a new game. I'm going to name the company and I'm going to start with the standard settings. I'm going to start in the United States because that is the one that I know the meta for best. Let's go ahead and start a game. All right, Uncle Ian says, "Hey, how are you holding up? I know this is a tough time, but we both know your dad would have wanted us to keep moving forward. As you know, he left the company to you when he passed. What you might not know is that I've been a silent partner for a while now. When times were tough, your dad sold me 50% of the company. I stayed out of his hair and took my share of the profits, with an understanding that he'd buy the shares back at their market value when the time came. I have some other ventures I want to pursue, so I'd appreciate it if you would buy me out sooner rather than later. And who knows, maybe we could work on something together again in the future." Alright, I'm going to lock my country by right-clicking. If you right-click inside a country, it will keep you from accidentally building in countries that are not yours. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this number here. It is yellow, which tells me Uncle Ian is taking a percentage. Right now he's taking 50%. To see how much Uncle Ian owns, you can go down to Finances and click on Public Shares. Here we have 100 squares, each representing 1% of the company's value. Uncle Ian owns 50 of them, and you own 50 as well. Their individual value is based on a percentage of the company value. Uncle Ian's shares cannot decrease in value. Your share prices are dynamic, whereas his can only go up. So it is in your best interest to pay them off as soon as possible. A little bit of meta of the game is that your company value is only calculated once per month, and that is on the first of the month. So if we want to make the move to pay these back, what I suggest is we take out a loan and we pay back as much as possible before the company value gets too high. You can wait to do this later, but just know that you are sharing your profits with Uncle Ian. Okay, now that the first of the month has arrived, I'm going to go over to loans and I'm going to borrow $300 million. I'm going to buy back all of these shares because I don't want to share my money with him. And I'm going to put back $200 million because I didn't need all that. So that costs us $16,000 per day just to have that. So I am going to grab another loan and I am going to build a wind power plant. Looks like I just need a little bit more money than that. I'm going to build a wind power plant. Okay, and just like that, we're back in the green. If possible, it is best to play in the green as much as you can. And if you are in the green, there is no penalty for speeding up time so that you can gather your money while you think about what you want to do next. These power plants, the solar and the wind power plants, have no input, so they're basically generating free money. Governments will purchase up to 100,000 megawatt hours per day, at which point they will stop buying altogether. And there is a drop off after 50,000. The price will drop off. So here we can see every day they are giving me $180,000. The math there works out to this building costs a bit to run, as well as the loan is costing us. So what I recommend at this point is to take a look at the objectives panel. Right here, this is going to give us free stuff just for having looked around the game, playing the game like normal. So this is 2 objectives that are basically saying we are growing our business, and you can see that over here in the global perception. This is our business ranking based on all this. I will cover that later, but basically these first 2 are for that. We built a wind power plant, so we get this reward, which is pretty sizable. We paid back a loan, we took out a loan, and we bought back all of our shares from Uncle Ian, And that was for buying 1 share and for visiting the finance menu. We are sitting pretty good. At this moment, since I have 4,000 influence, I'm going to go into the global perception and go to policies. Right here, we can adopt some policies that sacrifice some of our influence generation. Every 5th of the star gives us 1 influence per day. 3 is good, but we can save a little bit of money by adopting this policy. Let's go with indentured servitude, which saves us 25% wages and 25% benefits at the cost of 1/5 of a star. I'm going to click that. That is going to enact that policy, and you'll see our money creeping up a little bit. At this exact moment, that's not really going to matter too much, but as we start to build more things, it is going to matter a great deal. I am going to go into the research tab, and I'm going to unlock strip mining. This unlocks coal, which is extremely helpful, particularly in the early game and particularly in countries like the United States that have a 300% output in coal. So we're going to build a coal mine here. This generates 300 tons per day, and I'm going to hire a manager to sell the excess, and our money is going to creep up a little bit more. I am going to copy that, and I'm going to place a few of these around. And I don't want to do too many because the value is going to plummet. Right now, the United States has the 3rd lowest value for coal, and that's just because it has a high output in the country. It looks like it's not doing too bad. Let's open up the market and we can search for things that are in production. The value is fluctuating, but it's not trending down, so that means we're not selling too much. That is good. So what we can do is we can pick another one of our specialties like corn. Corn is not super valuable, but we do generate 15 tons per day, and that is going to be tripled because of our country fertility. So what we need to do is we need to research crop growth management. We can do that from right here. It only costs 50 of our research points, and we'll do that now. So now I can build corn farms. Let's do that. That is going to add a bit to our income as soon as the amount in our storage reaches our max storage. We could empty it if we wanted, but there are products that we can build out of corn. And that would include the poultry feed as well as the livestock feed, or we can make cases of corn. But now we're generating 45 tons. And let's, for the sake of showing off what the upgrades do, we can upgrade the building a couple times, and that will increase our daily value. We are spending money on purchasing fertilizer. Fertilizer is not too terribly expensive, and we're buying less than a ton per day. So what we can do is we can take this corn farm and we can copy it a few times to give us a bit more income. All right. So now that we are here, we can pay back our loan, or at least part of it. Okay, so just for the sake of sanity, I'm going to go ahead and check our global perception and see if there's anything here that we can do to increase this. If we pay off the last of our debt, we should get the rest of these stars. And I'm actually going to do that right now. That will take a few moments to refresh. It usually happens like on a cycle. There we go. Now we got 5 stars here. Okay. Really the only thing we could do is to decrease our environmental impact, which is basically pollution that is output by every building. We could get a couple of stars back there if we wanted to. Otherwise, we can go for contracts, which is going to be the main way that you're going to get large amounts of money. Right now, we're making a little less than $500,000 a day. We can probably try to bump that up just a little bit, just for the sake of having that $500,000. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit more comfortable. Let's go ahead and check our objectives. We have a whole slew of them. it's worth it checking that every once in a while because you do get influence and research points. Research points are very expensive to acquire, so it's good to make sure that you have some. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to look at the contracts. We are about to flip over a new month, so I'm not going to take any of the ones that are right here because every month this resets. There's 10 contracts generated every month. Okay, now I'm going to slow down time. Okay. There is a contract in the United States, which is pretty cool, but it's 6 years long. I tend to not go for the longer ones earlier in the game. Let's see, we've got Styrofoam in the Senegambia Union. Not really what I'm after. I usually go for a 1 year or 2 year contract. Let's go ahead and generate some new ones. Oh, we got some peas in Russia and some arsenic in Brazil. Let's see, so arsenic, they were asking for 100 tons of arsenic in Brazil. What can we generate? That is, there's nowhere in the Americas that has that. We've only got Ireland, Poland, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Namibia. Okay, so Russia has the land for us to build these mines. I am not going to do this because that would require the equivalent of 100 mines or less mines upgraded, and that is not worth all of that effort. So I'm going to take a look at, let's see, there is this one which is hemp in Mauritania. Let's see, we have fertility in the United States, so that would be a pretty good one to do. So let's go ahead and accept that contract. It's only going to pay 19 million. I don't know if that's actually worth it, but it will allow us to sell the excess. So let's go ahead and accept that. And now the countdown begins, 310 days until this begins. Every day that you do not fulfill your contract, you incur a penalty. This contract is $15,000 per day. The penalty is incurred against the contract itself, so you don't have to pay that every single day. It's just going against your payout here. And you can break this contract right now if you did not want to participate. So I just need to generate 2 tons of hemp, and I already have the research for it. So let's go ahead and do that. Hemp. Okay, we're generating 6 tons. So let's hire a manager, and then we want to go to Mauritania, which is right here. We're going to build a warehouse because we're going to send trucks here. We have the storage for 10,000 hemp. And I'm going to go back to the United States and we're going to build a warehouse here. Now, when I do this, this is going to increase the max storage of the country. All of my buildings are set to sell overstock. For the next few minutes, there's not going to be any overstock. So I'm going to build this and our income is going to tank. I'm going to speed up time for a little bit here while we wait for what our actual number is. Okay, not too terrible, and it will eventually catch up once everything fills back up. So I'm going to restore time down to the minimum here, and I'm going to set up a trade. In order to set up a trade, you need the trade building in the exporting country as well as the trade building in the importing country. I'm trying to go to Mauritania, so I'm going to click Mauritania. It's going to take 45 days for a truck to get there, and we are sending our hemp. And what I will do is I will wait for a full load. So what that does is every time we have 10 tons, it's going to send a truck. Because we're generating 6 tons per day, this should be about every other day, give or take. So I'm going to set that up. So the travel costs themselves is $54,000. That's just to operate the truck. There is no export tax and there is no import tax, which is good. The value of 10 tons of hemp is $11,000. So obviously we are losing a lot of money on this deal. I'm gonna probably hazard a guess that 3 years of sending trucks every other day is not going to add up to the contract amount, but that's okay. This is just for the sake of getting the contract done. Simply doing the contracts will help our global perception. So I'm going to start the export. That is set up, and we can see little trucks on their way around the world. I'm going to speed up time so we can kind of see where they're going. Yes, in this world there is an imaginary bridge that connects all of the continents, save for Australia and any island nations. So that's going all the way over here to Mauritania, and we can see our hemp arriving. That will slow down as soon as the United States no longer has an excess of hemp. So once that gets below 10, they'll start departing every other day. So I'm going to go ahead and call this contract taken care of. That's these 2 tons per day is just going to come out of the storage. So as soon as that starts, it's going to subtract 2 tons per day. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go into the manage screen, and I'm going to go to Mauritania, and I'm going to sell once we get full. So if I happen to be overfilling this warehouse, a manager in that country will sell it. Now our contract is underway. It is done in 1,000 days. And we have a new set of contracts we can look at. So this is, I do like this when we have 2 contracts that are for the same place. That really helps inspire us to go there. Because if you are setting up a new contract to a country you have nothing to do with, let's say you need to send coffee to a country that doesn't have it, and you don't have any countries that have that fertility, you're going to have a hard time. So it's always best to pick a contract that you have something in common with. Either you are already generating that product, or a country you control has that product fertility, or you already have storage in that country. In this case, we don't have any. I could double up these contracts, but they're really long contracts. I don't really have any interest in that. There is also the Korean Union who wants $100 million. Will give us $100 million for 9 tons of coffee per day. That's only 1 year. I do like that short term, and that's a good amount of money. So let's take a look where we can get coffee beans. Coffee beans is 1 ton. So we either need 9 farms, or we could do 5 200% outputs, or 3 300% outputs. So if we do that, we want to probably build in the Eurasia area, because the farther distance you go, the more it's going to cost you. So if I just build 3 coffee farms in the Mekong River Union, I can fulfill this. So I'm going to go there. We're going to throw down a warehouse, and then we're going to build a farm, and we're going to build some coffee beans. Oh, it looks like I do not have the research. So that's the post-harvest processing. What we want to do is we want to scroll down to our post-harvest processing and research it. That unlocks all these crops. So I'm going to research that. And now this farm that's not generating anything, I can change the resource to coffee beans. And now it's generating 3 tons per day. I'm going to upgrade this until we get 5. And then I'm going to copy it. And that way I only have to have 2 farms. So now we're doing 10 tons a day, and we need 9 tons for this contract, which I forgot to accept. We have 200 days to make sure that it gets to the Korean Union. Okay. In numbers that are less than 10, it's always best to just use a truck, because anything else is going to be terribly expensive unless you have a really long contract that you can just wipe out by sending a ship full of things. So I'm going to build a warehouse in the Korean Union, and then I'm going to go back to Mekong, and I'm going to select the Korean Union, coffee beans, and since I make 10 tons a day, I'm just going to send a truck every day. There's no export or import here. It costs 12k to send it, and the destination's value is considerable. So even if there is no contract, if I just sell in that country, I'm going to make 28,000 for every delivery. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to fast forward until they reach their destination so that I can easily hire a manager in, I don't select the country, Korean Union, in storage. Okay, so when that fills up, we will sell. Okay, that's another contract that's basically going to take care of itself. We're delivering 10 tons every day. They only need 9, and so they will take their 9 and leave our 1. So when this contract starts in 169 days, It's only a year long, so that means at the end of the year, we will get $100 million. Considerably better than this contract here. Let's take a look. I don't think there's any other contracts that we want to participate in at this moment, and that's just fine. So one thing to keep in mind is that the more countries that you build in, the more expensive every single building is that you build. So right now, this farm, even though there's only one tile purchased, costs 4 influence. And every building that you build is going to cost 4 more influence. I don't see anything here that I want to build. But I could always, well, I don't really want to buy tiles I'm not going to use. As I say, every tile you buy costs more money. So why don't we just go over to America since I'm already here. And I'm going to copy one of these. So this farm costs 7.5 million and 120 influence. So if I build it and I go to another one, it costs 124 influence for the next one. This is because it is multiplying the number of tiles that I own in this country, and multiplying by the number of countries. So we've built in 4 countries. And so now every time we purchase a tile, it's going to go up by 4. So if I was to go stretch to another country, it would cost even more. Something kind of fun if you don't want to have to rush to get contracts ready and you're just kind of trying to kill the rest of the year. I like to go into auctions and you can bid on things. These are just mystery shipping containers. You get a limited description of what it is and the company that is trying to get rid of it. And these are the bids that are occurring. You can place bids for any amount of money. And the meta of this is once the auction starts, there is a number that the AI is not going to want to cross. And that number is fairly random, so they could go into a bidding war over an item that is practically worthless, or they could not even bid on something that's very, very, very valuable. If it's something I really want, I try to make sure that I throw in my bid. For the sake of showing you how that works, I'm going to place a $5 million bid. I doubt anyone's going to beat that, and I got it. Okay, so this was a farm. This was a crop. It's not going to be worth very much. It cost me 13 million. I'm going to open it up. We got 540 tons of peas. Okay, and from here you can send them anywhere you like. If we click on peas, we can see that the US has that fertility, so we definitely don't want to send it there. But we could send it to the Korean Union, where it's valued at 187, or Mauritania, or Mekong. Yeah, let's go ahead and send it to the Korean Union. That will instantly send it. Ooh, here's a good one. Electronics fab manufactured. Let's bid on that. Perfect. I spent $8 million. Let's see if we got some good. We got 8,000 units of power inverters. Okay. That's worth about $500,000 in the Korean Union. Probably going to be the same-ish everywhere else. Okay, 600,000 in the United States. Let's go ahead and send it. And so what we can do is, obviously we're not generating this. We can go to the market and go to our storage, and we can sell all of the power inverters we have, which is 600K. And then we can go over to the Korean Union where we have the peas. Oh yes, so this item is locked, coffee beans, because there is a contract for it. That is basically just there to make it so you don't accept a contract and just instantly buy the stuff from the market, because that's kind of the whole point, is that the company can't seem to acquire these items, so they're willing to pay extra for them. They're willing to pay you extra for them. It makes sense that they are not actively on the market. So if we go ahead and sell the peas, then we don't have those anymore. That is great. At this point, we are near the end of the year, which was not the goal. It took too much time to do that. So I'm going to look at the contracts again. We have packaged meat in the Philippines. Packaged meat is a bit of a process, but what's nice about it is that it just takes general meat to make, which comes from a lot of animals. Basically anything that's not like a poultry or beef. Stuff from like donkeys is going to be meat. I don't think I want to go that route just because that's a little bit too complicated to do right off the bat. So let's refresh for another item here. So we could do potassium fluoride, or we could do chlorine gas. They want 40 tons of chlorine or 200 tons of potassium fluoride. What does that take? That is a little bit of a process. Yeah, we're not going to do that quite yet. So let's go back to the chlorine. That just requires a gasworks building and a couple of researches. And we can generate 25 per day in basically any country. And that's gonna be an easy one to do. So let's do the chlorine. I didn't even look at the country. It's in Angola. That's fine. In Angola, we can build a. Let's see. Oh, that's under mines, gasworks. We can build that on any tile, and we need chlorine gas. Oh my goodness! I just made the mistake of thinking that chlorine gas was mined from the ground. It is not. It is made from sodium chloride, which is not something that we have here. So what we need to do is we need to demolish this. Let's build a chemical plant to try to recover what we're doing here. In order to do that, we need electrolysis, which is going to be in our research, and that is under mining. So we need to get to electrolysis. Luckily, we have plenty of research. So we're going to research industrial gas extraction and advanced industrial gas extraction, fractional distillation, and then electrolysis. Okay, so that's going to give us our chlorine gas. We need 40 per day. I'm just going to upgrade this until we have what we need. So now I need 432 sodium chloride. Now, there's going to be plenty of places in Africa I can get that. It looks like this might be the best place, although the default is 500 tons. So what I should do is I should just try and see if there's a neighboring country that has what I want. Sodium chloride. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a sodium chloride mine here, which I need the research of evaporative salt mining. So I'm going to go back here. That is right here. And then we're going to go back in and we're going to get that in there. Okay. So that's 500 tons a day. Right now we're going to sell the excess. We're going to build a warehouse. Now 500 tons a day is too much to send through trucks. That would require 50 trucks. That's not going to work. So what I want to do is I want to go back to Angola and I want to build a train station. The amount of money it costs to transport is the exact distance of how far away things are on the map. I am going to build this right here so that it's right on the edge. And then I should have saved that tile for... I should have saved this tile for the train station, and now I gotta go all the way over here. Oh, actually, you can build them on sand. I forgot about that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go send it to Angola, and I'm going to send it when there's a full load. Now it's gonna... Oh, it is 10,000. It was 12,000 at one point. So it's gonna wait for a full load. Once this gets up to 10,000, it's gonna send a train. The travel cost is 0, and that is because it is so ridiculously close, it can't even calculate how many days it would take. So that's a little way to kind of exploit the transport system. And that's just fine. This stuff isn't worth very much. And I had thought that I could just do it here. So right now, this building is purchasing the sodium chloride. It's not mentioning it anywhere here, but if you look in your news, you can see where you are auto-supplying. This tells you all of the countries that you are purchasing goods to supply your buildings. I tend to turn it off because it's a lot. The market fluctuations and the power sales is most valuable, and in fact I'm going to clear because the market fluctuations are going to be all that I care about for right now. So now we are just waiting on the first delivery from that country, and I should set up a warehouse. I'm going to upgrade it so that we can store plenty. So you'll see that we are still losing our 432 a day, but we did receive a delivery. We got about 6,500 left, and this is going to turnover at 10,000, it's going to send a train. So theoretically, there should be no time where we are purchasing this stuff. It's going to send a train. It's too short to even see it transport. Okay, that is in good shape. We managed to not incur any penalty. We managed to start that right before the turn of the year. And our coffee contract is complete, so we can collect the payment. We had 0 penalty. That is really good. And then that whole thing is still happening right now. I would say that we can keep that because the price of coffee beans in this country is really high, but I don't have any reason to keep it, so I'm going to switch it from full to empty. So now it will, by default, empty the warehouse whenever it is delivered. So that actually is still profitable because we're making 29,000 after all the expenses of sending it. So that's good. Let's take a look at the contracts again. I'm going to slow down the time. We've got not too much, but we do have a warehouse in the Mekong River Union, and the Pollock is, let's see, that is for Iceland and Japan and Korean Union, Norway and Russia. So I do already have a warehouse in the Korean Union, so that's basically fine. And I just need netting techniques, which costs 200 RP. That is just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Korean Union and we're going to build a wharf and we're going to acquire Pollock. Okay, so that's giving us 40 per day. And I'm going to send to the Mekong River Union, I'm going to send Pollock. We're going to do one every single day. That should fulfill that contract because they only need 6 per day. Okay. I am also going to hire a manager there, and I'm going to go back to Mekong and make sure that I hire a manager for the Pollock. I don't think it has been received yet. Oh, it has. Okay. And we will sell it when it gets full. So let's say we do want to increase our global perception. We do still have the 652 EIU that we are generating. And look, we completed a contract, so we get a little bit of a star, and we have 2 active contracts, so we have a full star. That's pretty cool. Let's go back to contracts and then objectives. We completed a whole bunch of these. So what we can do is we can take a look at our library. This will kind of inspire us as to what we want to spend our time working on things. It looks like the Horn Union has some sort of explosion in their economy. The Horn Union is right here. So what I would like to do is I would like to set up a seaport here. I'm just going to put it there. It does cost us a bit per day, but I'm not too concerned about that. Basically, anything we send to the Horn Union is going to have a very large sale price. So what I want to do is I want to go to a country with, I'm actually going to go to India, which has fairly low costs for everything, but also has lots and lots of 300% outputs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a farm, and I'm going to find something. Let's do Cumin. Cumin is pretty valuable. Yeah, 6,000 per thing. So that's only that's 6 tons per day. I'm going to increase that to 10. I'm going to copy this building a few times. This is a lot of influence that is costing. It is costing money, but the money at this exact moment is not a big deal. That's 4. Let's try and get that up to 500 per day. Oh, we ran out of influence. That's going to happen. If that happens, we can go to the influence menu where we have all of our local politicians that are willing to take some money for influence. This refreshes every 2 seconds. It refreshes, and you can buy up to 1,000 per click, and you can set your threshold. Basically, their offer is going to change every time, and if their offer is lower than your threshold, it's going to highlight them. Then there is this person here who is always at 100,000 if you don't want to play that particular mini game. But let's grab a couple of really cheap influences. That should do it for now. Okay, let's get back into India. And we are nearly at 500 per day. One more. Okay. And then now, let's go ahead and hire. That is going to give us some money, but that's really not our goal. Our goal is to send it to a different country. We're going to send it to the Horn Union, and we're going to send it when we have a full load. It's going to yell at me because we don't have enough warehouse space to even fill that shipment. So let's do that. That is going to be, that should be the carrier ship, which is 200,000, but let's just see. That particular item is going to go in a container ship, which is 20,000 tons. Perfect. So when this gets up to 20,000 tons, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. That's going to send to our Horn Union here. I'm going to build a couple of warehouses. Oh, we missed the shipment. So I'm just going to describe what happened. India just sent a ship with 20,000 tons of cumin, and we didn't have anywhere to put it. So when that happens, it's gone. Think of it as they emptied out the warehouse or they emptied out the ship onto the port, and there was no one to take it. I like to think of it as that's what we're bidding for in these auctions, is the things that get left behind. But you know, if that makes you feel any better about it. Okay, so let's make sure we have enough space to receive these, and we can also. Oh, we just did it again. Okay, I gotta stop talking and actually do it. Managed, yeah. In storage. Okay. We will just empty it. There's no reason to have it sitting here. So every delivery, it's going to fill 20,000, which we have plenty of room for, and it's going to empty out the warehouse. You got to keep an eye on your time, because if you're going too fast, you're gonna run into trouble like I just did. That would cost like $20 million just sitting and not paying attention. So that's good. We have a slight goal of in our contracts. We have Uncle Ian, who has these little goals for us to complete. We bought back all our shares, and the other thing is to own at least 10 seaports. Okay, and I am going to do that right now because we are doing good on our contracts. We have no penalties, and we have 2 that we can collect. I'm just going to go ahead and take those. And then we also have the Horn Union, whose economy is booming right now. Let's see, this like even just like barley has a way higher value. So what I would like to do is I would like to find one more resource that's super cheap for us to acquire. Okay, how about this? Tanzania. This was a fun thing that I learned while researching, is that Tanzania is the only place that you can mine Tanzanite. In the world, there is only one place you can find Tanzanite. So we're going to build some Tanzanite mines. You only get a little bit out of it, but it's worth a lot in the Horn Union. So I need deep mining. I'm going to go to research, and I'm going to find deep mining, which is right here. We have plenty of research to do that. And we're going to build some Tanzanite mines. Because of the increased output, we have 0.3 instead of 0.1. Obviously, we're the only country that can manufacture this, so it's not exactly an increased fertility compared to anyone else. But I'm going to upgrade this a little bit. I'd like to get to a half, and let's go ahead. We're going to build a warehouse. We're going to hire a manager, but I don't think we'll ever need it. It's not that big of a deal. It's not too expensive. I'm going to throw down some mines here. Oh, was that in a different country? I think I clicked on the wrong country. Okay, so now we're doing 6 per day. I was planning on doing another seaport for the sake of completing that goal, but I think I'm just going to send it via the truck system. So the cost is 3,000. We're going to make 4.6 million just by sending that every single day. That is pretty darn good. I'm actually going to just like increase this until we get up to a little over 10, just for the sake of... Oh, we are running out of influence. Okay, let's get some more influence till we're a little over 10, just so that we can have an excess and never not send a truck. So we should be... Oh, we are just collecting the Tanzanite here in the Horn Union, so we should probably sell it, empty it. That is going to be a big plus for us. Let's go ahead and see what the value of coal is in the Horn Union. Pretty much a lot. So what we should do is we should send some their way. If we build our seaport, we can build one right here. We can send coal, and we'll just do it when there's a full load. It's going to yell at me because we don't have enough storage. I'm going to build some more storage. And it's still waiting for more. So coal is one of those raw resources that can send up to 200,000 tons per shipment. That is going to cause a couple of issues with our max storage being really, really high, but you know what? It's going to be worth it to sell all that coal. So I'm going to acquire some more influence because, and actually, you know, we have so much money, it's not really that big of a deal if we spend a little extra here and there. Although I did just spend like $800 million in just a second. Oops, you gotta be careful. We're trying to increase our warehouse size. We can't copy warehouses. We need 200,000. Oh, I don't have enough influence. That's what the influence is killing me right now. Okay, we have the max storage, and as soon as that gets up to 200,000, we will be sitting pretty with that. I'm going to... Upgrading that is very expensive. It's cheaper to build than a building, as it typically is. I'm just going to build some more coal mines. Out of influence. That is the theme. How's our global perception doing? It's not great. The 2 influence per day is not really helping us that much. Let's take a look at our objectives. We can grab a couple of that there. That will allow us to build a couple more. Maybe not. You can see how the influence costs creep up really fast, and then all of a sudden we don't have enough to do what we want to do. That's okay. Okay, so we've sent coal to the Horn Union. We are not selling it currently. We're just throwing it in the garbage. Which is very sad. So let's empty out that coal. That's going to give us a bunch. Not like a whole lot, but it will certainly help. Yeah, I boosted it up like a little less than 1 million. Cool. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's take a look at our contracts. We're going to slow time down a little bit. See if there's anything else. Ooh, aluminum casing. That's not too bad. Uranium hexafluoride gas. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to buy some more influence here, just for the sake of... You got to be careful with that clicking. I just spent 400 million in one click. Whew. Okay. So, we can do something like... Maybe we should do something a little more exotic, like blueberries. Crop protection techniques. That's going to be this guy. And that's going to give us blueberries. Blueberries are worth 22,000 per ton, and we can generate 3 tons a day. I'm going to boost that up to 5 so that it's a nice round number, and I'm going to copy this a couple of times. That's 40. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send blueberries there. And we're just going to do it every 4 weeks. I know that's a little bit of a waste of money. It says this profit, but this is assuming that you have a full load. We're not going to have a full load because we're only making 20 per day. But I am doing that because I do want to basically just throw down some extra seaports so that I can reach the Uncle Ian objectives. Okay, hopefully that's enough influence to get some stuff done here. I'm going to copy a couple of these over so I don't feel so bad about, oops, I lost all my money. Well, I guess we could just speed up time a little bit and we can get some of this money back. Okay, that's costing 11 million each one. Yeah, that's not too bad. These blueberries will pay for themselves, essentially. As you can see, we're sending boats over to the Horn Union to sell. Everything in the Horn Union is worth a lot. Let's see, anything else tripled? Oh, that's cotton, plums, chili. These are market fluctuations. These are fluctuations of individual things, like in Argentina, the value of zeolites has tripled in value. That's going to be pretty much like what happens, but sometimes, like what happened to the Horn Union when we weren't looking, the entire economy got boosted. So since we have kind of an excess of products, why don't we take the Democratic Republic of the Congo and we can just kind of see what we can get up to. So if we do something like build some tree farms, okay. I'm going to upgrade that a little bit. I'm going to copy a few of them around. So we have 500 tons of wood to work with. What can we do with wood? Well, we can make it into wood pulp, or we can make it into lumber, or we can build some fishing traps. So why don't we build something that can make wood pulp? And that's going to be the agriprocessor. If we go into our refineries, it is the 5th one down, and it's the agriprocessor, wood pulp. Okay. So that uses 120 and gives us 60. So if we upgrade this a couple times and we copy this building once, twice, oh, look at that. We are at a perfect 0 excess and we're generating 259 tons of that. Okay. So the next step in that process is the paper pulp, which also requires the agriprocessor. So let's go ahead and build another one of those. And that is the paper pulp. That uses 50 to give us 30. Upgrade that a couple times, and I think I can make one more. Oh, we can make a couple of those. That's probably as far as I want to go. I'm going to take this time to go ahead and hire managers for all of these so that we're not losing money on that. And we're currently generating 129 tons of paper pulp. So the next step would be to make paper. If we go to the paper mill, we can make some paper that uses 100 tons to give us 100 tons. And that's about all we have to work with. I'm just going to upgrade it a little bit so that we can use the last of that excess paper pulp. I'm going to hire a paper manager. And I mean, the value of paper in this country is not going to be great. But what we can do with the paper is we can build all sorts of stuff. In this case, I want to make print media. So we need 250 tons of this per day. And we need it in the paper mill. Now, we don't have 250 tons, but I want you to see what happens if we try. So if we go to the paper mill and we build another paper mill, now we're generating 220, which still is not the 250 that we want. And now we're above that 250. Okay, but now you can see we are losing 134 of our wood pulp. So now would be the time to go back, maybe upgrade buildings if you just have a short ways to go. Otherwise, just basically watching that number on the side until the number that you're after gets up to where it needs to be. Okay, so I've made paper pulp positive, but now wood pulp is negative. So we can go into our wood pulp and copy that building a couple of times. And now we're positive on that. But now we are negative on timber. So we'll do the same thing with that. Okay. So now everything is positive other than the fertilizer, which I tend to not worry about until you can find a country that can like pump out the fertilizer and send it to all the countries that need it. It is cost of doing business with this stuff. Okay, so now we have enough paper to make our factory that will output the print media. And I don't know why I said factory, because it is not a factory. It is the packaging plant. So we have print media. That's going to generate 70,000 units of print media. And now we are selling it. Let's see what the most valuable place for that is the Horn Union, and that's just fine. Wouldn't you know it? I happen to build this in a country that has no ocean access. That is not ideal. Okay, that's okay. What we can do is we can build a train station. The Horn Union does not have one, but we will get one right there. And we will send our print media. We're gonna do, let's see, so they can do, let's just send it daily. That's fine. Probably. Oh, it's not fine. It's not fine. Let's just do, wait for a full load. So, because books are not the same as tons, they have a different, like there's a certain number of books that equals a ton. In this case, I don't have enough storage to send enough books, so I need to make enough storage. I'm gonna upgrade this 2 times. I'm gonna check on this. Okay, so now we have enough room to send the books, and they're going, they're flying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a manager to sell that, and we should be making even more money. This contract is complete, and that is just fine. So here in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, we basically have print media working. But let's say we wanted to do a different product. Let's go to a country, let's go to China, because they've got lots of land. The wages are pretty low here, and they have lots of fertilities. So let's pick something from a factory that we want to build. Let's do something not too crazy. Toys are going to be a little crazy. Let's make some propellers. Those are worth quite a bit here. So that requires a bronze alloy, which is copper and tin. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, so let's go ahead and unlock that. This one, that's what I want. Precision machining we need. So we have enough money where I think it's okay for us to work backwards. So in order to do that, you want some storage, and then we want the factory that we're trying to build. We're building propellers. 1 propeller per day. And in order to do that, we need 2 tons of this bronze alloy. In order to make that, we need a foundry that makes bronze alloy. So we'll just go into foundry, and we will build bronze alloy. And that's 2. That's perfect. That is exactly what we need. But now we are short 2 tons of copper ingots and 0.3 tons of tin. So I think the tin might be easier to do. And we need a smelter to smelt the Cassiterite. So let's do that. That gives us enough tin, but now we need Cassiterite. And where can we get Cassiterite? Here in China. Wonderful. So we're going to mine some Cassiterite. Looks like we need a new research. going to be up here, right here. Let's go back in there, change to Cassiterite. Okay. And we just need a little bit more. I'm going to make a second mine because I'm sure we will need more than that. Okay. Now we just need copper ingots, which requires copper in a smelter. So let's do another smelter. This one is going to be copper ingots. That is generating enough of those, but now I need copper, which I'm assuming we have fertility for. We do. So let's build a copper mine. And that only gives us 2 per day. I'm going to upgrade this to 4 and build another one. Okay, I have not been hiring managers, so I'm going to just hire for all of them. That will make sure that any excess goes to where it needs to go. Okay, so now these propellers. We're generating these propellers. Everything is in the positive. We are controlling the entire production line from mining all the way until the production of the product. So let's take a look at this product, and it looks like Nigeria has had a boost in their economy as well. It looks like the Horn Union is still the best for this. It would be fairly foolish to send these on a boat, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to send them from our warehouse already, and we're going to bring that to the Horn Union. I'm going to send when there is a full load, and that will be just fine. I think you can kind of get the idea of how this works so far. I did want to go over a couple more things. We still have this EIU that we're letting climb up. If we bring it down to 0, we get 5 stars. So maybe we should try to get those in here. So we've got 4,000, and if we bring up our items here, we have the carbon sink here. So that's going to bring down our EIU. That brought it down almost 800. So let's throw down a few of these, and we will go back to our global perception, and we can see that we are actually in the negative of EIU, which is awesome. So we're gaining more stars, which means we're getting 6 influence per day, which is very, very helpful. Some other easy spots would be to complete more contracts. Basically, once you get up to 25 contracts for your entire career, that gives you 5 stars. You can do active contracts, but that's kind of dangerous if you want to get up to 10. That's a really hard one to do. You gotta basically play on like ×1 speed for the entire time if you want to do that. Let's see how we are compared to everyone else. 94th in the world. There are, I think, a little over 1,000 rivals. So I'm not doing so great. But we're doing good. What I'm gonna do is just throw down some more power plants, some wind ones here, so that we can get some more money. Sorry for the flashing. If you hit escape, you can exit out of these menus real fast. So we're generating 50,000 megawatt hours per day, which is awesome. Right around 50,000 is the point where you get diminishing returns. So under 50,000, you're kind of maxing yourself out for efficiency, but the governments will pay up to 100,000. And so now our income has boosted up quite a bit as well. So what I'm going to do here, let's take a look at the rest of our objectives. We've accomplished quite a few of them. We don't have any livestock farm or some of these buildings, so let's go ahead and do a livestock farm. In fact, let's do a meatworks, which will give us kind of a goal for what we want to do. In this country, we have cows, chickens, deer, and pigs. So we can render any of those things. Let's go ahead and render the pigs. And so in order to keep this meatworks in operation, we need 50 pigs per day. So if we go to our livestock farms, we can raise some pigs, which gives us 5 pigs per day. And they're all basically gonna have that same math. You need about 10 farms to keep them happy. Let's go ahead and sell everything full, and now we are fully filling our pig processing meatworks. We are losing a bit on pig feed though. Why don't we go ahead and make a pig feed agriprocessor. So that requires sweet potatoes, carrots, and sugar beets. So sweet potatoes we can get here in China. Carrots we're gonna have to go get, and sugar beets we're gonna have to go get. Let's go ahead and do our sweet potatoes now, so we don't have to worry about it. Sweet potatoes. And that's fine for that. There seems to be some collision with the vehicles interfering with the... That's interesting. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down. Okay, I just needed to make sure that I wrote that down. Okay, so we have plenty of the sweet potatoes coming in. Let's go ahead and sell any excess if we have them. And I'm realizing we probably didn't hire a guy for this. Okay, these trucks are getting kind of annoying. There we go. Oh, I did have one hired. Oops. Okay, so now we need carrots and we need some sugar beets. Is there any country that happens to have both of those things? It's going to be in Eurasia. I see Great Britain, Sweden, Russia. Russia's going to be it. Okay. So we need, back in China, we need 5 tons of carrots, 5 tons of sugar beets. So let's go ahead and build one of these and farm for carrots, which we're going to make plenty of, and sugar beets, which we're going to make way plenty of. Okay, we're going to hire managers there. We're going to send them to China. We're going to send carrots daily, and we're going to send... Oh, I was looking for sugar beets. Sugar beets daily. Okay, we're going to send both of those things, and we will have what we need here. Once this number starts to climb, then we will know that we have done it right. There's the carrots, there's the sugar beets, and the number's going up, so we're good. Okay, let's take a look at our objectives. We've completed some more stuff. Build a drill and an offshore drill. Okay, yeah, we haven't gotten into the drills. So in the mines, there are drills, which are here to drill crude oil. We need to research drilling. We have not done that. That gives us access to oil and natural gas. So let's go ahead and get some crude oil going. That's fine. Oh, I just spent a bunch of influence. That's okay. We can hire someone to sell that oil, though I'm willing to bet that we don't have the best price for it. 400. Yeah, the average is 400. We're a little under 400. That's okay. We will just sell the excess of that. That's fine. And then the offshore drill does the exact same thing. This gives countries that don't have a lot of land, but a lot of islands, they have a lot of offshore spots, so they can very easily make a lot of money with the oil. Let's look at our objectives again. We did the offshore drill and the drill. We have oil refinery. These are just buildings. That's fine. That's fine. These are just our power plants. These are our EIU buildings, and then there's different contracts. There is business levels as well. So I would say, as far as objectives go, we know what we have to do to fulfill them, but we got some good rewards here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build these last seaports that we need in order to get Uncle Ian to talk to us. I'm just going to throw them down right here. I was, until I realized I did not have enough influence. Okay, now he's going to talk to us. He says, I knew you had it in you. Paying me back and expanding your seaports, you've proven your company has the logistical might for what comes next. Welcome to the construction site for the Republic of Ultima Mundi. When we last spoke, I mentioned working on something together in the future. This is it. This is everything. What we are building here will do more than change the world. It will ignite a new golden age for all of humanity. For now, I have to ask you for your trust. The specifics are on a strict need-to-know basis. Discretion is paramount, as there are interests that would love to see this fail before it even begins. Let me worry about the why, and you can work on the how. Your task is to become the sole supplier for this project. Your company will be responsible for acquiring and delivering materials on an unprecedented scale. Now, let's talk compensation. My liquid capital is entirely committed to this core workforce and technology. I'm not buying materials from you in the traditional sense. Consider this a partnership. With each fulfilled requisition, I'll extend a significant stipend to your enterprise. It's a capital injection to help you shoulder the immense logistical burden of this phase. This early in the project, you won't be making any profit. Even so, you must keep your supply line beating strong. The stipends aren't much, but it will be worth it in the end. Once this foundation is laid, the opportunities, well, let's just say they'll be astronomical. We're building the future, and we will both own a piece of it. So I will leave you to it, as I have my own preparations to attend to. Focus on this list, and we'll speak again to close Phase 0 and initiate Phase 1. Okay, so Uncle Ian is building an island, and he needs all of these materials. He needs 200 billion tons of basalt, 80 million tons of sand, and 40 million tons of gravel, including all of these things. He needs all of these things to complete Phase 0, which is foundation of the foundation. If we scroll around the planet over to this area right here, we can see we got some boats and we have a shipping port. This is the Republic of Ultima Mundi. If we click on it, it will open that menu we were just looking at. So what we need to do is we need to supply these things to the Republic of Ultima Mundi. So if we click on Basalt, we can see there's lots of places we can send from. Let's go ahead and go from Brazil, and we'll just start shipping some of this stuff so you can get an idea of what we're looking at here. So from the seaport, and we build a mine for basalt. We're going to be generating a lot of it. So let's upgrade that. Okay, we have enough storage to be sending our goods to Republic of Ultima Mundi. Basalt. So something important to realize is that this stuff is just being sent. It is not coming back to us in any way. We cannot sell it. So we have to eat these travel costs. I'm going to wait for a full load of this. I'm going to send it. So what I really want to do is I want to increase this output here. So now we're doing about 20,000 per day. I'm going to hit the max speed button here so that we can kind of get an idea what it looks like when we're receiving some. So we have, here if we zoom in we can see what our inventory looks like. Ultima Mundi has infinite storage, so this is basically just getting dumped in here. When this fills up, we can receive this stipend and we can hit complete. I recommend as soon as you have the opportunity, as soon as you can see this menu, start with basalt. 200 billion tons is an absurd amount. We're at 2 million and we're not even at 1%. So it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of money to get just the basalt in. Everything else as far as the raw materials is pretty easy. And you have the option, like let's say you don't want to make 100 barges because selling them is a pain in the butt, and you only need 100 for this project. You can go and you can buy them from the place that sells them the cheapest, like Zimbabwe has barges for 33,000. So let's go to Zimbabwe. This is going to be a little bit tricky because they're not connected to the ocean, but that's okay. What we can do is we can look up barge. We can buy 100. I don't have enough inventory space, so let's go ahead and build some. We're going to buy 100 barges for 3.5 million. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send these barges to the Horn Union. I forgot. So barges are too large to send on trucks. Obviously, if we were thinking about that logically, that would have made some sense. So let's go ahead and send them on the train. We're just going to do it one time because that should take care of all of them. Okay. So now they are here in the Horn Union. Yeah, we got 100 of them. So then I'm going to send these barges to the Republic of Ultima Mundi. We're just going to do it one time. It's going to send that boat It's going to go all the way over. I could have gone the other way around. It's going to go all the way over here, and we will receive those barges, and there they are. So once we have the thing that we need, we can complete the delivery. Completed. It's completed. We got that $5 million stipend, and we just have these other things to complete. Once everything is completed in the phase 0 foundation of the foundation, Uncle Ian is going to talk to us again about phase 1. Right now, phase 1 is the last phase that you can complete, as the items needed to complete phase 2 are not all in the game. So basically you can complete phase 0 and phase 1, but then you're going to reach the point where there's the items you need are not in the game, so there's no way to proceed. As I continue to develop the game, I'm going to add the items needed. And these phases are going to get ridiculously complicated. I'm having a lot of fun setting that up, and hopefully it will be fun to complete. So how are we doing on our basalt here? We're at 0.01%. You can see why this will take some time. But if you have a lot of countries working on it, it's not that big of a deal. It's just also considering, like, once you fill this up, now you have all this production basalt, and it has to go somewhere. So you can either try and sell it, but you're going to flood your market and you're going to take the price anyway, or you can destroy the mines or have them mine something else. That is kind of the sacrifice that you make in this project, but it will be worth it in the end. I should also mention that you are not going to be able to build here. There is no building in Ultima Mundi. This is his island. He's not going to let you build anything on it. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I think that covers most areas of the game. If you have any questions, I would love to hear them. If you have any suggestions, I would also love to hear that. I don't do very well without a script. In this whole video, I did not have a script, so hopefully it was informative and not too weird or confusing. If you want me to make more of these, or anything similar, let me know. If you have any specific questions, I can certainly answer them in a comment or another video if it requires it. This has been Chet. Take care.